pull up a chair. Now imagine this. It's late. The pub's nearly empty. Outside, the fog curls around the lampposts, and the bartender's wiping down the counter with that same slow, circular rhythm he's used for decades. There's an old copper still in the corner. It's more for decoration than function, and it gives off a faint metallic glow under the low amber light. You lift your drink, and the scent of oak and smoke rises to meet you. It's warm, alive, like the past itself trying to whisper through the glass. Funny, it says, how we call this stuff spirits. And that's when the story begins. Okay, so let's talk about the alchemist's ghosts. Here's an interesting fact. The Arab culture provided invaluable preservations of teachings, especially in the biomedical sciences. And during the year 700, long before the word chemist existed, an alchemist named Jabir ibn Hayyan worked by lamplight in a small workshop in Kufa, Iraq. He heated liquids over fire, watched the vapors rise and vanish, and fascinated by these reactions, he built an alembic still and distilled them. The alembic still was already in existence, but when he started working with distillations, he modified the still, which became foundational to biomedicine and chemistry today. He was fascinated with the rising of the vapors, and though he didn't believe that these vapors were hidden souls like AI tells us, he called these volatile reactions spirits. During this time, in Arab, they referred to these distilled spirits as al-kul. Hence, this is why we refer to our whiskey as alcohol. So here's where the science turns poetic. When you heat a liquid, say whiskey mash, you give its molecules energy. Those molecules get restless, they vibrate, they collide, and eventually they escape as vapor. That's evaporation. Then, when the vapor cools, it releases that energy and collapses back into the liquid. That is condensation. You've seen this dance before. In the clouds, in the morning dew, in the fog that curls around your glass on a cold night. It is nature's little resurrection act, disappearance and return. And sitting in a dim pub, it is hard not to see a reflection of ourselves in that cycle of all things rising, changing, and returning in another form. Also, there's something else happening beneath that transformation, something invisible. It's called latent heat. It's the energy absorbed or released when matter changes state. So when alcohol evaporates, it steals warmth without raising its temperature. That's why a splash of whiskey on your skin feels cold. That stolen warmth, that hidden energy is what drives the change. You can't see it, but you can feel it. Ghost stories are a lot like that. They feed on hidden energy we leave behind. Our memories, our griefs, the warmth of a place that's been lived in. Every haunting, every story told over a drink carries a kind of latent heat, emotional energy refusing to fade. Now lean closer. You smell that sweetness? That hint of vanilla, maybe smoke? That's chemistry whispering to your senses. I love it. Distillation doesn't just separate alcohol from water. It teases out volatile compounds, molecules that can't sit still. They leap, kind of like me, they leap into the air, eager to be noticed. They're esters, aldehydes, long carbon chains that make up whiskey's aroma. And without them, your drink would taste flat. With them, it haunts the air. Love it. These molecules are restless, always moving, always escaping. They are the ghosts of the distillation process. And you can smell their presence long before you take a sip. Science calls it volatility. I call it personality. If you've ever toured a whiskey distillery in Scotland, You've probably heard the term angel share. Every year as the barrels age, a small portion of whiskey seeps through the wood and evaporates. That's just physics, ethanol molecules escaping. But distillers have long said that portion belongs to the angels. In some of the oldest warehouses, the air is thick with that sweet, ghostly scent. It seeps into the wood, the brick, and even your clothes. You can almost taste it. There's no better example of science blending with superstition. Molecules obeying thermodynamics while our imaginations turn them into myth. And maybe that's not wrong, because science gives us the mechanism, but stories give us meaning. Finally, science tells us that matter has 4 states: solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. But if you spend enough time thinking about how everything changes, how nothing truly disappears, like memories of loved ones, you start to wonder if there's a 5th one. Not something you can measure, but something you can feel. We call it spirit. Because whether it's ethanol vapor in a copper still or the memory of someone you miss, both prove the same thing. Energy never dies. It just changes form. Here's to my dad. That warmth in your glass, the laughter in this pub, the flicker of the fire, all of it is energy in transition. You can't see it go, but you know it lingers. So the bartender sets down another glass. Outside, the fog thickens. Someone laughs near the jukebox, and for a second, the air seems alive with echoes, heat, sound, vapor, laughter, memory, all swirling together. You take one last sip, and the drink just burns enough to remind you that you are made of the same stuff. Atoms changing state, energy transforming, stories fermenting in your bloodstream. So maybe when we talk about spirits, we're not being poetic at all. We're just describing the physics the old-fashioned way, by firelight, with a good drink in hand, and someone we love by our side. So, what are our 3 takeaways? Distillation transformation is matter changes form, and that process mirrors how we turn experience into a story. Latent heat is life's hidden energy. Every change, physical or emotional, requires energy that you can't see. And volatility keeps the world alive. Whether it is aroma or memory, what escapes is what lingers the longest. So this Halloween, here is your challenge. When you raise a glass, don't just toast the spirits. Notice them. Think about how simple reaction, fire, vapor, transformation links us all back to those first alchemists. Reflect on the spirits you choose to keep company with. Curiosity, wonder, and maybe just enough imagination to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. Because every spirit, chemical or spectral, begins with transformation. And transformation is what keeps science and Halloween stories forever alive. Thank you for listening to Math Science History. And until next time, carpe diem.